Here's our last example. It's on page 37. We want f of x to equal x over x minus 2. We're going to sketch a graph using technology and determine whether it's 1-to-1. X over x minus 2. Scrolling out, it's getting closer and closer to 1, but not actually touching it. And it's getting closer and closer to x equals 2, but not actually touching it. There is no place on this graph where the vertical line test or the horizontal line test are going to fail. So I'll go ahead and draw these as best as I can. Goes through 0, 0, gets closer and closer to 1 without touching it. Y equals 1 without touching it. And then it gets closer and closer to x equals 2 without touching it. Gonna check on my other side. It goes through points 4, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Again, it's going to get closer and closer to x equals 2 without touching it. And it's going to get closer and closer to y equals 1 without touching it. And yes, this is 1-to-1. They want us to sketch a graph of the inverse. So let's find the inverse first. F of x equals x over x minus 2, so y equals x over x minus 2. Swap out our x's and y's and we get x equals y over y minus 2, and now we're going to solve for y. Multiply both sides by y minus 2. Distribute our x. Get all our y's on one side. Get anything that doesn't have a y on the other side. Now the trick, we have to factor out that y. Then we're going to divide both sides by x minus 1. Putting it in our correct notation, we get the inverse of f of x is equal to 2x over x minus 1. So I'll graph that. And here we are. Still goes through 0, 0, but now it's approaching y equals 2 and x equals 1. Despite my terrible drawing, it's never going to actually touch either, but it's going to approach both. And it goes through the point 2, 4 instead of 4, 2. And again, it's going to approach x equals 1 and y equals 2 without ever touching or crossing. It's kind of hard to see with the example, but these are in fact reflections over the line x equals y. What is the domain of f? Well, what is the one number that we cannot stick in here? We can't put 2 in here, otherwise we'd be dividing by 0. So it's going to be every number in the world, negative infinity, except 2. So we're going to go up to 2, soft bracket, union, and then the right side of 2, 2 to infinity. This will also be our range of our inverse. The domain of our inverse, the only thing we can't put in here is x equals 1, or we'll be dividing by 0. So every number in the world except 1. And that means the range of our original function f is going to be from negative infinity to 1, union 1 to infinity.